when you stop learning on your craft, whatever your craft may be, you become a dinosaur.
Well, I think in anything, you're either growing or dying. And especially when you're working on your craft, if you're not sharpening your axe, it's getting dull.
Welcome to The Growth Mindset, the podcast for ambitious real estate and mortgage professionals. Hosted by Adam Crosley and Rick Riddle, this show dives into entrepreneurial strategies, sales techniques, and mindset hacks designed to fuel your career growth. Get ready to learn from top producers, gain actionable insights, and start your journey towards success. Here's your hosts, Adam and Rick.
Buongiorno, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Growth Mindset Podcast. I'm Rick Riddle with my co-host,
Adam Crosley. How are we doing this week, Rick?
I am doing fantastic.
I love that, brother.
Fantastic. So it's funny. I was thinking in the spirit of our Growth Mindset Podcast, I was thinking of, a lot of it is the mindset.
Absolutely.
Obviously, half of it's about growth and half of it's about the mindset. And then I started I was reading and digging deep about, what do you need to do to have the right mindset, right? Like, how do you get mentally in the right place, right?
What are the inputs of having the right mindset?
Yes.
Yep.
Because I do believe, right, if you are in a positive mental attitude, right, and you're thinking you can take on the world, you're much more likely to win and accomplish it if you have the right mindset.
Yeah. I mean, if you think you can take over the world, you have a much likelier outcome of taking over the world than if you don't think you can even put your pants on some days, right? I mean, like...
Yeah. Well, I guess the one thing is, if you think you can take on the world and conquer the world, you have a good shot of doing it. If you don't think you can, you have 0% chance.
Henry Ford's old quote, right? Whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, you're right. It's
yeah.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's it.
Yes, that's it. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
So I kind of broke it down. I was reading somewhere that they said there's like four features or four quadrants, I guess, of having the right mindset. And I figured we talked about them. In the first one is physical.
Uh-huh.
The next one, intellectual.
Okay.
Third one, emotional. And the fourth one, spiritual.
Okay.
Right? So maybe we could...
Makes good sense, right? Like, because if you're taking care of yourself as a full, well-rounded being, because there's been times before, like, my money's been good and my head's been good, but I also was 100 pounds overweight and I wasn't taking care of myself. And even as happy as I could, I wasn't as happy as I could be because I wasn't taking care of my temple.
Yeah. And I think it's different levers, right? So I think it's like, if you as a listener, or, you're feeling down or feeling up or what, I think we can always self-improve. I think it's, if you look at, if you can almost have a checklist of, an internal checklist of how are you doing physically, and physical doesn't necessarily mean being, peak physical performance, running a 7-minute mile, benching 300 pounds. A lot of it is just, as simple as grooming, looking your best, feeling your best, maybe, wearing well-dressed clothes. Are you sloppy, right? Like I remember a friend of mine who used to work from home, but he always showered in the morning, got dressed, put on a suit and tie, because it made him, that was his mental, like, physical thing, right? He's like, I'm going to work. I got my right mindset on by that physical.
I mean, I can't even imagine working from home today. Like, I mean, but I think you almost have to do that, right? To get ready. Because if you show up and you're wearing sweatpants and you sit down at your computer, you're going to show up like you're wearing sweatpants.
Really? Yeah.
If you show up polished, tight, suit, tie, like, I mean, you're going to show up like you're showing up at a big, important meeting.
Yeah. So I think that physical is huge for that mindset, right? Whether it's, I have a love-hate relationship with the gym. And I go in spurts, and I mean spurts like years without going, and then going for 6 months, and then years without going, and then going for 6 months. And now I'm on the uptick of going. but you know what? I've kind of changed my mindset on that. It's just, you know what? Work out a little bit, an hour a day, you know, walking, light weights, get the body moving, get a little sweat. You don't need to, you know, I'm never going to be, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So, and I don't have any desire to do that, right? So it's just kind of getting that physical. By doing that in the morning, you know, 2 or 3, 4 times a week, you automatically feel, you know, you might feel exhausted, but you do feel energized in your exhaustion.
You know, my secret, and I got this from Carl White. Carl would go for bike rides every morning. I live, you know, where I live up in the North Country, it's cold in the winter, right? So I can't ride my bike in January, but
and full disclosure, he lives in flat Florida.
He lives in flat Florida, right?
Seven Peaks, which are behind you.
But he, you know, he talked a lot about this, and he encouraged me to get out and start walking. So for about 2 years, a few days a week, I go out for a walk at like 5:30 in the morning. And I only walk 2 miles. And, you know, I just walk out a mile. There's just one crossroads, and I go there and I turn around and I do that walk 80% of the time. Sometimes else I mix it up. But brother, let me tell you, talk about my physical health. I'm getting out, I'm walking, it's cold, it's brisk, and I enjoy it. But it also checks the emotional and spiritual box. Like, because when you're out just before dawn, outside in the world, and it's dark, and then the birds start chirping and everything starts coming alive while you're there, and you get to witness the world wake up. Like, I mean, it's magical. And I have some of my best ideas, some of my best thoughts are out while I'm just going out on my morning walk. And
yeah, well, look, I think that leads to the next thing, right? That physical working out, physical working on yourself, whatever it is, that going for that walk opens up the mind, right? It opens up the, you know, I'll call it the next one is the emotional, right? It is your emotional bucket, right? Is you know, you've got to have the right mindset, right? You've got to kind of clear your mind, you know, and go have a little naivety to life, you know. Carl also, when he goes on his bike rides, he doesn't have answers. He always says, you know what I do? I just ask questions, right? And I think that part of that emotional kind of bucket is about being open to the world, open to new ideas, open to having that sense of purpose, right? And asking the right questions, you know, internally, and challenging yourself. And I think that you know, there's connectability, relatability with people, right? I think that there's such a, you know, we are in the human business, right? And our job isn't really selling money or selling real estate. It is, but it's connectivity. It's prospect, it's networking, it's connecting with others. And I think that that's that emotional link, right? Is working on yourself to be the right mindset, be more inquisitive of things, and be more open to the world. And I think the world would be a better place. And this is not a political show, nor do I want to get political, but
please don't.
You know what? If we all had open hearts and all had learning from other people's point of views and really genuinely listening to others, I think the world would be a better place. And I think that's something that I know when I focus on the emotional aspect and the you know, being more inquisitive and being more open and being more, you know, listening than speaking, things, good things happen.
They do. They really do. I mean, when you're aligned physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, it's like magic happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because you have this idea in your head, and out of left field, it just gets created in reality.
Yeah. I mean, if you dream it, right? If you know, it takes dreaming it to believe it, right? To shoot for the stars, right? Is you have to have that open-mindedness. You know, the people that do amazing things in this business, as well as any, you know, inventors and activists and people that really have professional careers, there's a little bit of openness, right? And exposure, which I guess goes to the next one is the intellectual, right? Like, is I think that people, when you stop learning on your craft, whatever your craft may be, you become a dinosaur.
Well, I think in anything, you're either growing or dying. And especially when you're working on your craft, if you're not sharpening your axe, it's getting dull.
Yeah.
And especially today, the way technology is changing, the way that everything is changing so fast in the world, man, I think that's truer today than it ever has been.
Yeah. It exponentially is going faster and faster and faster, right? Like it's the, there's a lot of challenges of AI and just technology in general. And we've done a bunch of previous episodes on, technology, but you have to learn it, right? You have to, I've kind of, over the last couple of years, I've gotten really into, reading books, probably listening to books more than reading books, but, really work on that intellectual part of it is just, learning from others, right? Learning from the greatness of others. Obviously I wrote a book about it. Use the Ladder is literally, that's what it's about, right? Is the first chapter is climbing the tree of life, use a ladder. It was really meant learn from the greatness of others, right? And I think that there's such great people, and if you can constantly, open your mind and continue working on that muscle, right? That knowledge muscle, that intellect muscle, in any walks of life, right? Like it doesn't have to be all about business, like if whatever your passions are, if you learn about them, it's constantly working that brain, and opportunities come out of it, right? It's I think in our business, as you know, I love the exploration and journey of wine, right? Like I read about it, I study about it, I study the historical, I study the regions, really it fascinates me, right? It is as I think about it. But now I go to wine events and I've gotten mortgages out of it. I've made connections, right? I've done wine events for real estate offices, right? Because of my knowledge and passion in I'll call it education study, right? So
Sharpening the stone.
Yeah. And then it becomes once that knowledge is power, right? Once that knowledge becomes your own, now you can share it with others. And that makes you more emotionally connected, right? So it's I will tell you, drinking too much wine doesn't help in the physical bucket, but it challenges the physical drainage of the butt as you're not wanting to go out into the gym every morning at 5 a.m. if you've been, doing wine late night the night before. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's important to I think it's important also to separate intellectual and emotional.
Absolutely.
They're all kind of tied hand in hand, but always be emotionally open, and then to use that as a way to be intellectually stimulated.
No. I love that.
I just made it up.
But you did it with the right mindset,
I did it with the right mindset. and then the last bucket, which is also kind of tied into, is spiritual, right? And I think that and that doesn't necessarily mean religion or but having some type of understanding that we as individuals, there's a greater whole, right? And a greater good in that whole, right? And whatever that is, and that could just be mindfulness and it could just be, going for that morning walk and seeing the world wake up, right? It's probably going through hikes in the woods, right? That, realizing that you are a small little, stone in a sea of rocks, right? And that you can make impact, right? But kind of knowing that and being grounded in that, I think really helps. And I've gone through my journey a little bit. I've gotten into reading a little bit about, reading books that are geared towards Buddhism, and it doesn't really matter what, I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not but going on that.
You don't need to be. You just need to be inquisitive about it, right? You need to be leaning in the right direction. You need to be asking yourself the right questions.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's important, right? It's like, too much in this world, people like to be labeled or like to have labels. Like, I'm a vegan, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a runner, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a whatever it is, right? But the reality is don't put labels on things. Just, work on your journey in those 4 buckets. And if you're struggling to not have a growth mindset, to not have, life where you want it to be, I bet you if you kind of broke down those 4 things and started working on those 4 different categories, physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual, you'll inherently grow. You'll be a better human, and you'll feel better about yourself. You'll do you'll have a better positive mental attitude. You have more energy, and now you can dream it and take it on.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll grow and you'll grow.
Yeah. So what, I'll throw a question out at you.
Okay.
Are you working on anything specifically in those 4 buckets?
Am I, so, I mean, I'm trying to, my goal weight is about 15 pounds less than where I'm at right now. And I've been on a weight loss journey myself for the last couple of years. This summer, I all my other buckets were doing really well, and I slacked off a little bit. So I started walking again a couple of weeks ago, and I'm doing that. I'm swinging a mace around this big, thing, and that's fun for me. And I enjoy
Mace? Is that like a thing, like a ball?
It's a weight on a 3-foot stick, and
you swinging it at people?
No, like you just swing it around your head, but it works your shoulders, your joints, your whole upper body, your back. It's and I'm up to a 30-pound mace now, and I like my Viking sports.
I was gonna say, here's a note for all listeners: if there's an apocalypse and some type of an event that causes the apocalypse, a zombie apocalypse, go to Plattsburgh and hide behind Adam Crosley. That's my plan. Because the guy is swinging at that point probably be 50-pound maces and just taking out taking out zombies.
Yeah, we can get them close and far away.
Yeah, and they'll never find.
Not much for technology, but I'm the guy you want lost with you if you ever get lost in the woods. That
naked and afraid.
Naked and afraid. So that's that. Well, you and I talked offline. I'm trying to purchase a piece of real estate right now that is making me grow. I'm having to learn a ton intellectually. I'm having to learn. I mean, it's challenging me on. I own a lot of real estate now, and this one thing would triple my portfolio. And but it has challenged me to my core, both emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. Like, how the hell are you going to make this freaking thing work? It was in the right alignment,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I've been working on some things, but nothing like super specific.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, for me, I'm trying to go to the gym. I've been started back up. It's been probably 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks, going 3 times a week.
Nice.
Still trying to figure out my routine, but definitely committed to doing it at least 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a book called The Untethered Soul, which we've actually talked about when I was on chapter 3 on the podcast. I'm up to chapter 7, and I think that checks a lot of spiritual and intellectual and emotional buckets, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm really learning about the voice inside your head and opening your heart and opening your, it's funny. It was talking about how you probably heard the sayings that your eyes are the windows of the world or something to that effect, right?
Windows to your soul. Yeah.
But what it really is the brain is quite a fascinating thing. Is basically your eyes are just cameras, and they take all these pictures all the time. right? And they were talking about, 90% of the pictures you throw away, right? You're driving down a road and they gave this analogy in the book, and there's all these trees and mountains and cars, and you see them as you're going by, but they go out the back just as quickly as they come in, right? There's not any real connection of that, right? Just kind of driving down the highway. But then you see a car that your ex-girlfriend drove that type of car. And that might even be a different color. It might be a different model, but immediately that triggers a previous memory, right? Mm-hmm. That you either probably have, a positive or negative reaction to that memory. But it's like those memories were created, and it kind of talks about, especially if it was you could ruin your whole day today looking at something that reminded you something of 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's kind of interesting. And so it talks about if you can learn to recognize it, but then also throw that memory out the window as well, and just have an open heart up front, like you can really take on more things. And I thought that was kind of an interesting take on that book as I'm going down using that book on a intellectual, emotional, and spiritual journey, all in one shot. So
I love that, brother.
And now I just need to read the book while I'm walking on the treadmill, and then I'd check off all the boxes.
You might better listen to it.
Yeah, it's probably better. So So that's kind of what I've been working on, and cool. It's been good, and it all relates to everything we do in those categories. You can relate to what we do as mortgage lenders, right? Is if you're feeling better and you walk into a room with your clothes are fitting better and you have new clothes and you're feeling fresh, you're gonna have more confidence. That more confidence is gonna lean to more opportunities versus not feeling confident. It's the same thing with if you feel grounded and in the right place and you're doing it for the right reasons and you're working on your craft, you're gonna grow.
Huh? You're either growing or you're dying, man.
That's it. I choose to grow. I choose
to have the growth mindset.
I love it. So anyway,
that was a great discussion today. I love that.
Yeah, it was good. I know this. Well, thank you guys all for listening. It's been a while since we've been on. We took a little bit of a break, and now we're back rock and roll now that the summer is over. So make sure you tune in. Again, the Use the Ladder book, which we is still out there. It's getting a lot of publicity, and we're selling a lot of copies. So if you're interested in that, just let us know, and we'll make sure you get a copy of that as well.
Cool.
Awesome. Any parting words of wisdom from the great Adam Crosley?
I'm gonna defer to the Henry Ford quote that we mentioned earlier. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're absolutely right.
I love it. Awesome. Until next time.
Cheers.
I'm Rick Riddle.
Adam Crosley.
The Growth Mindset Podcast. Have a great day.
Take it away, Eric.
You've been listening to The Growth Mindset, hosted by Adam Crosley and Rick Riddle. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your colleagues. Stay tuned for more actionable insights to fuel your career success. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily reflect the official policies, positions, or opinions of Absolute Home Mortgage Corporation or Crown Home Mortgage. The content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice or an official endorsement by either organization.